I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh,
There went John's copy.
you gave me that.
That's the,
You will sign it later.
Ah,
Whole house.
be all right. We're gonna have the good stuff.
All right, don't fight over
No
that.
adjustments.
You guess we can't all actually on this.
Public comment. Excuse me, if there is anybody from the public that wants to make a comment, they will need to go over to the table over there and read the script and fill out a form to make a public comment. At the end of the meeting, we've reserved 30 minutes for public comment. You will get 3 minutes to speak on your topic. The board will probably not respond unless the chair allows it. Any questions on that? Hearing none. We'll move on to the agenda. Consent agenda. Any questions, discussions, decision?
motion to approve.
I'll second.
Discussion? None? All those in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes. Jamie Peterson, there he is, front row, Jamie.
Front row, first up.
So
So
BIF coordinator discussion and decision to approve and authorize the chair to sign the fiscal year 25 IROC aerial photograph agreement for Potawatomi County and Mappa.
mouthful, it's a huge document too. So the first 4 pages are the agreement that we have, which is no different than past agreements that we've had. This is just simply starting our new term in our 6-year contract. This will be the 2nd year of that. So as far as I'm concerned, this is a formality to make it a 1-year thing with MAPPA. There won't be anything special. This won't add any money to our budget. This is already accounted for. It's simply stating that we are going to pay the amount that we said we would to get the products that we've asked for. And MAPPA ultimately holds the contract with Pictometry. We are in an agreement with MAPPA to pay for those products.
Any
Questions?
Yeah, when did we start this?
This particular contract, this would be the 2nd flight out of that contract.
Did we sign an agreement for all 6, to cover all 6 years?
We signed an agreement for 1 year at a time. Which is not, we have signed multi-year contracts in the past where we sign an agreement with MAPPA. 8 years ago, we would have had a contract directly with Pictometry or EagleView where we were in essentially their client. Now MAPPA is the client of EagleView and Pictometry, and we are in an agreement with MAPPA to pay for the part that we want out of that deal. So it's a little different than how it was in the past, but essentially it's the same.
Maybe correct if I'm wrong. Agreed to this on a 1-year basis, basically to see how things are. Is that correct? And things are working out?
Yeah, things are working out great. We've had a lot of positive feedback on the imagery, on the use of it. In this first year, we had the oblique imagery, which was part of that. We've done a ton of implementation and integration of that into other systems, into 911, into all of our applications that use online mapping, have that aerial photo in there now. And the 6-year contract was, the flights are different every year. So it's not the same product year over year. So to balance the cost of it, the 6-year contract works, instead of going up and down and up and down, the 6 years lets us balance that across the term instead of having to account for that all in a single year. Which has been an advantage for us, as far as budgeting and just seeing the roadmap ahead as well. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Looking through the website, your pictures and stuff, it's really come alive.
Yeah. We've done a lot of projects in the last year that have used the aerial photography, Mount Crescent being one of those, they're going through their master plan and having that additional high resolution imagery has paid off when we're working with their consultant and having to provide maps and images for them. It's definitely been an advantage in the areas that used to not have that kind of coverage that do now. So we've done several projects like that.
Is that your recommendation, Jamie?
It is my recommendation.
I'll second.
Did legal review that?
Legal has this particular one, no, they have looked at this contract. It's the same everything other than the fiscal year and the amount of money, so. So, yeah, just one other point on the, this particular agreement, they do ask for a chairperson signature and then a witness as well, so.
I think legal could be a witness. Maybe.
It works for me.
He was the second.
Second was Shay.
Okay.
Motion by Wickman. And any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes.
Thanks, Jamie.
Thanks for your support.
Thanks for your work on this.
Appreciate it.
Oh, is Chris back?
Chris is back.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Matt Wyatt, Director of Planning and Development, public hearing, first consideration of ordinance number 25-01, parent ZTA 2004-03, parent, and ordinance to amend the Pot County, Iowa zoning ordinance, chapter 8.004.095, accessory dwelling units, and set date for second consideration.
I'll make the motion to open the public hearing.
Okay,
And I'll second.
second. Roll call.
Chairman Belt,
Aye.
Supervisor Shea,
Aye.
Supervisor Jorgensen,
Aye.
Supervisor Wickman.
Aye.
Supervisor Miller.
Aye.
Take it away, Mr. Wyatt.
We had a resident, Mr. Terry Talbert, came in and submitted an application for this zoning text amendment change on accessory dwelling units. Accessory dwelling units are somewhat like that describes, could be called granny flats, teen quarters, pool houses. It's a secondary accessories dwelling that would be on the same parcel as your principal dwelling would be on there. And we have had this code section since 2015. We added it on there. It was something at the time when we added it in 2015 that there was quite a few requests coming in to be able to do something like this. And when we came up with the original code section for it, I don't know whether it was the size requirements and things like that, it just did not take off in the fashion that we thought it was going to be. And so we made some alterations to it early last year on there, expanding the footprint size based on the acreage sizes of it. And then this change would further then reduce those changes to it, which would allow for, if you had a 2-acre parcel on there, and which is not right now the way it currently states you have to have double the minimum lot size. So we would go down to the existing lot size, which would be 2 acres if you don't have water, 1 acre if you do have water, and allow you to have that accessory dwelling unit on there as long as it is smaller than the principal dwelling that is currently on site. Right, we're gonna get rid of the 800 square foot requirement up to 1,200 square foot requirement, just say if it's, as long as it's smaller than the existing dwelling that is there. If you have a lot that, the example would be is Mr. Talberg has a lot out there on Perry Road. 20452 Perry Road is a property that he purchased that had an existing foundation in the rear. It's a 1.34 acre lot. And there was a foundation out behind the house that had not been used, so it was
for a garage. He constructed the garage and put it's conditioned space, it's not habitable space, above that garage. Has everything in there that you could do, for a house besides a bathtub or a shower. There's a toilet there, there's a kitchen there, there's a couple of rooms there you consider bedrooms or something like that, like it. But in order for him to be able to put that shower or bathtub in, that's where this code would need to change. And what he's asking for is that that they be allowed to seek a conditional use permit on those lots that are smaller, that, like he has a 1.3, because there's no water out there, so the minimum lot size would be 2 acres. Now, he's done what he has done, he feels like it is a good example that could show you could do it on 1.34 acres. But our concerns on the county side of it would be, we want to make sure there's not any impact to the neighboring property owners in those areas. So that conditional use permit process would allow us to put this project under further scrutiny to make sure that we're not going to impact the neighbors any further, any more than what is the existing conditions to it. We don't want to block them out from a new septic. We don't want to block them out from a new well. Those are your main considerations on those pieces of that. And so it went before the planning commission. And they did have, Mr. Talberg was able to be at that meeting and spoke about it. One of his neighbors came in and spoke for it as well. And the planning commission ultimately did recommend that these were changes or something they feel would be good to go to the board of supervisors for. So.
I'm not sure of the address there again, but they got rural water in front of that place.
Not on Perry Road, no.
Thought it went up partially.
It may go up partially, but not up to that extent.
Not
I
up
think
to-
it's kind of this, so the Perry Road is a part city, part county
Okay,
road. And I do think that there's a fire hydrant down on the southern end of Perry,
goes up a block or two.
Yeah.
It seemed like,
but this is a ways up Perry Road.
Okay.
Closer towards the honeysuckle side of it.
okay.
Matt, this is your effort to try to accommodate this person, is that what I'm hearing?
Not just this, this
Yeah,
is,
yeah,
Yeah.
but this is how it started, so
right.
I applaud you for that, thank you.
I think in the past, we had looked at these accessory dwelling units on a rural side of it as kind of an amenity to a property, where urban style, they're kind of looked at as a housing solution. And I do think that they could become, doing something like this would allow them to be a little bit more of a solution for people out there in the rural areas.
Set precedent.
This is a code change, but it's applied, it was applied for by a resident. This isn't our office coming to you with it. So, everything
Rural
after,
basis.
everything after this is gonna be new.
So does that mean that every 3 acre parcel can have another house on there and be divided off?
Not divided off.
Well, that's what it says.
If it can be, it says if it can be divided off, it needs to be divided off. It will be divided off.
That the ADU may be permitted, be divided off, become a separate lot or parcel. What am I missing here?
Yes, if it meets the subdivision requirements, then it can be divided off. Like say in this area, because it is a bituminous road, and you had the potential to do a minor subdivision and create another lot on there, then that would be what you would go through instead of the ADU process. We would have you create that new parcel.
This number 14 says that the ADU may be permitted to be divided off. Does that mean if you take a 3 acre parcel with a house on it off of 205th Street, can that be divided and then put another house on it?
But you gotta go further in that line, and it says, provided however, that all of the zoning and subdivision regulations shall be adhered to. So the ADU may be permitted to be divided off and to become a separate lot or parcel from that of the primary structure, provided however, that all of the zoning and subdivision regulations are adhered to. So if that 3 acre parcel is sitting in an area that has already been divided up to its max amount of area in that quarter section, you're not going to be able to divide it off. But if that 3 acre parcel is sitting in an area where you could potentially do a minor subdivision and divide that piece of it off and create a new lot there, then that's the route we would have you go versus doing the ADU.
Any other questions with that? Anyone else want to speak in regards to this? Anybody want to speak against or for? Anybody online? Okay, any other questions or discussion?
Well, I talked to Matt yesterday about this. I was worried about any prior application that may have been rejected. And Matt said that there wasn't any that have been rejected under these plans. So we wouldn't be jeopardizing a decision that we've made in the past anyway.
Right,
Yeah.
there may be some that come in and expand and become a little bit larger than what they originally built. But there hasn't been any that have been completely turned away.
Any other discussion?
Weren't these originally, wasn't this originally put into place, Matt, for a relative or somebody to stay in it so you could provide care for them?
No, no, not this section in 2015 wasn't. There's actually rental provisions and you can rent it out.
You're comfortable with this?
And your planning commission has reviewed and approved it.
Their recommendation is for approval to the board of supervisors.
Any other questions or comments? We need a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Chairman Belt,
All right.
Supervisor Wickman, Supervisor Miller,
Aye.
Supervisor Shea,
Aye.
Supervisor Jorgensen.
Aye.
Okay, we need a motion and a second to approve first consideration of ordinance 20245-01, parent ZTA, dash 2024-03, parent and ordinance to amend Potawatomi County, Iowa zoning ordinance chapter 804 or 80004.095 accessory dwelling units and setting date for second consideration.
I'll make that motion.
Second
Okay.
consideration for January 21st, 2025.
January 21st, 2025. Any other discussion?
Chairman Belt,
All right,
Supervisor Miller,
Aye.
Supervisor Wickman,
Nay.
Supervisor Jorgensen,
Aye.
Supervisor Shea.
Aye.
okay. Suzanne Watson, community service update on behavioral health administrative services organization for District 4 and 1. Morning.
Morning.
Morning, Suzanne.
I wish I had more updates to give you, but I'll tell you what I know at this point, so. And there's things that you'll need to know as far as budgeting going forward, and just a little clarification that we've received. So Iowa Health and Human Services did sign the contract just Friday with the Iowa Primary Care Associates, who will be known as the Behavioral Health Administrative Service Organization. And as we've talked about before, they were awarded the contract for all 7 districts in the state. So it's a statewide contract. I did go back and listen to the rest of your comments you made to the legislators the other day, and I appreciate that. I was only able to stay for the first half hour, so. So with that, there are, I'm waiting patiently for a phone call from them to start talking about transition. We met with Health and Human Services on Friday, and of course, they had just signed the contract that morning. The intent is that they will start setting up meetings between the regions, the current regions, and the Iowa Primary Care Associates. We'll be meeting with them just regarding overall administrative things, how we set up services, those types of things. But more importantly, we'll be meeting regarding the individuals that we serve. And that's really the biggest concern at this point. I mean, we're all concerned with how this goes forward, but obviously we don't want anybody to fall through the cracks as far as individuals that we serve. They've assured us that that will not happen. We have 5.5 months to transition this. We have talked about how previous transitions we've made, for instance, we used to have a very large Medicaid case management program here. We had about 32 individuals in our department at that time. And there were a couple different things that happened during that time. The first one happened with individuals with mental illness. Those people were transitioned to what is now known as a IHH health home for individuals, basically providing that same care coordination. Those were individuals that already had Medicaid, had services established. So it was just transitioning from one case manager to another. Same thing happened when our managed care organizations came in to the state. Our case management served those individuals for approximately a year, and they were then transitioned to the managed care organizations. So again, it was a smooth transition. Individuals who already had Medicaid, they had established services. We expressed our concern on Friday with HHS that this is different. So the individuals we're serving now, we really are their safety net. They're individuals that can't get started. They may not have Medicaid. They may not have disability. They don't necessarily have a driver's license. They've lost things and due to what they're dealing with. And they need a lot of handholding. We work with people who don't know how to start the process. So that's really what our service coordinators do. So we want to really make sure that those individuals don't get lost, that there's a smooth transition there. So that's the biggest thing we'll be talking to them about, is making sure that they understand what we currently do, how we serve them, the need for that ongoing, and then making sure they get put where they need to be. There'll be a couple different pieces to this new way of doing business in Iowa. As you know, we've also applied for the disability access point. So some of those individuals will be served through that. Some will be served through the behavioral health administrative service organizations. Some will be served through what is also going to be new July 1st, which is the CCBHC, or the Certified Community Behavioral Health Centers. There's no map yet of who goes where and who's the primary case manager for these individuals, but that's what I'm hoping is figured out over the next 5 months, so that we know how to hand off individuals to the appropriate place. So some things I did learn is, as far as the Board of Supervisors going forward. So one of the questions has come with like mental health advocates. So as a reminder, the mental health advocate, Cindy Gooden, is our mental health advocate. She serves Pottawatomie County. We have 28 at 28E with 7 other counties for her services in the area as well. You are her employer under the Community Services Department. Mental health advocates cannot be associated with the region, so she's always been served. She works within us. She's a part of our department. Holy, Mary Beth supervises. You are technically in the code her supervisor. So what they've said going forward with that, because currently we reimburse. That's a region expense, even though she can't be associated with the region as far as supervision. So going forward, the behavioral health ASO will reimburse Pottawatomie County for her services, but she will continue to be an employee of Pottawatomie County. And your 28E that you have an agreement with should just continue as is.
So does she have a spot in your office then?
She does, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's got an office downstairs.
Okay.
So that one will continue going forward. I don't know how quickly the reimbursement will happen. The other thing that we're supposed to make sure that everyone is aware of is that all contracts that the region has with provider agencies will continue for at least a year, so that we can assure providers that any services that we've started as regions will continue and they will honor those contracts. There's a few things we're gonna have to.
A year from July or a year?
Yeah, so through June 30 of 26.
Okay.
There's a few things though that we're gonna have to work out. So, for instance, we have our crisis access network in place that, a piece of that is our service coordination. Our employees do a 30-day follow-up with individuals who have received one of our crisis services, and that's a big piece of it. They won't be paying the county for those services, so we'll probably have to figure out how to transition to that to one of the providers already in that, working in that with us. So we don't know how that's gonna work yet, so that's to be determined. We also have our mental health court. We have one of our service coordinators that is a case manager for that program. That will probably also need to be transitioned to one of the nonprofits that work within that. So we don't know what's gonna happen with our service coordinators that work at the jail. That will be something that we need to figure out as well. They currently office in the Pottawatomie County Jail. They work directly for the region. So we'll need to have some conversation with the sheriff about how that will work as well.
This company's gonna need some local people.
Yes.
Are they gonna grab some of your team?
Well, in their proposal, it says that that's what they're hoping to do. Yes.
Okay,
We haven't had any contact with them. We don't know what
they will need a team leader.
they will need. Well, most of their administration will all be in Des Moines.
I just see this as a failure. I really do. It's not good. We need it local, not a statewide agency. That's why we've had this problem. And the more local, the better. I think it's a failure on our state legislators.
HHS is the one that, picked them but it might have been designed that way. So we don't know.
When's your date on the next shoe drop?
The next shoe drops February 22nd, and we find out next week whether or not there'll be verbal presentations for that.
February 22nd, you said?
Yeah, is the date. There are this afternoon and Thursday, actually at 11:30 is the administrative rules are the first draft of the administrative rules regarding the disability access point and the aging changes, because it's all under HHS. Disability access point now goes with aging, so it's aging and disabilities. And then the other is behavioral health. So this behavioral health ASO is under the behavioral health of HHS. And so there's a meeting at 11:30 today online that is going to present the new administrative rules. So hopefully that will kind of talk to whether they're going through with the DAP, first of all, because I still kind of have a feeling they might just say forget it.
What they term as a listening session rather than a,
Yeah, no, I don't think anyone's able to talk. I don't
okay, so it's a listening session. Okay.
And then there's another one this afternoon on the behavioral health administrative rules that are proposed. that will
listening
be come
session.
out. Yes,
Okay, no input.
I don't believe so.
Okay, thank you.
But the administrative rules are documented, right? That's
Yeah,
what you
and they're supposed
to us
to.
as soon as you get them.
Yes, I will forward those. They said that they needed to get those out before the town hall and it starts at 11:30 and they weren't out yet when I came up here. So I don't know. I haven't been able to speak.
11:29, we'll send it.
Yeah,
to you.
exactly.
Yeah.
Other things that I learned, contracts. We let them know, CSN is so ISAC holds our data system.
Yep.
And HHS has always had access to that. We have to send them reports every year. I believe they were a little shocked to hear that we currently statewide, and this didn't include Polk County, we had 236,000 active clients in that system. Probably add another 70,000 with Polk County. So they've got 300,000 individuals that they're either paying something or we're serving. So it's a lot of people. It's a big transition in the next 5.5 months. So, but those are the things I guess I wanted to make sure you knew. I will be coming to you with the budget stuff regarding the payroll for mental health advocate and that kind of thing. We can talk more about it then.
Suzanne, do you know if they do take some of our people,
Our workers, yes.
yeah, will they work for the subcontractor and will they stay here?
Yeah, so they would not be working if they are hired by Iowa Primary Care Associates, they would work directly for Iowa Primary Care Associates.
still vacate these offices.
Yeah. And we hope that that's what happened. I mean, we hope that hopefully everybody that can stay, if we get the DAP, if we get the disability access point, we'll have, you know, a significant amount of our staff stay for that. And then hopefully there'll be an opportunity for other individuals as well that might want to do something different to work with behavioral health. I guess so.
Susan, real quick,
Yeah.
if people you serve have issues,
Yeah.
they won't be contacting the county from, at this point, is that correct? They'll be contacting Des Moines?
Well,
Is that a fair question?
yeah, they will. They will be, yes, there will be bright, shiny doors though through this disability access point in the community. So there's just a lot of unknowns as far as who goes where, because it is being split up a bit. And, you know, we've got people who receive kind of long-term services, and then we have people who receive crisis services, and that is kind of split out between these new pieces. So it will probably be a little bit confusing.
If we have to contact Des Moines, I need the number of how do I say this? A upper echelon person, not.
Yeah.
Okay, not below the radars.
Yeah, no, I'm hoping that what they planned as far as having easy access for people, because that's what they said they want. Hopefully that is what happens. That's supposed to be what happens. So.
Thank you.
Hope it works out.
Any other questions? Or, yeah.
So June 30th is when the state dollars dry up for coming into Pot County. I
Yes.
take it. Worst case scenario on, community services or general assistance, who needs to take over that?
Yeah, because, so general
We
assistance.
levy for that, so that's our cost.
Yeah, so that is still separate. Community Services Department is still separate than the region dollars. So so general assistance, you know, we have one employee, Debbie, who's 75% of her time is spent. 60 to 75% of her time is spent on general assistance.
So she would be the administrator of that then,
Yeah, we've got to determine how that transitions and how that works.
or the person that
Yeah. however
would
that
answer
works.
to it?
So really the only pieces left of community services, if we don't get the disability access point, would be general assistance and the mental health advocate.
What, the nurses at the jail, or the, mental health advocates at the jail,
Service coordinators, yes.
yeah, will they completely go away?
No, I mean, the behavioral health, the Iowa PCA, that's one of the things that the Iowa Department of Health and Human Services really likes that the regions have established are those services in the jails, because they see they realize the huge need there, and I think they have appreciated the creativity that we've come up with serving people there. I think it's just gonna come down to how that's contracted for.
Yeah, who would be their employer then?
That's what we gotta figure out. Yeah.
We
I was
don't-
I
we
was
don't.
originally hoping it would be like, they could stay, like they could work for the sheriff and the sheriff could get reimbursed. That would still be my hope. But that's still to be determined. They might say they need to work for a private contract, like a Heartland Family Service or a provider in the community instead of working. I don't know if they're gonna contract with a county department. They don't seem to like counties.
I don't see any good coming out of this.
So,
I truly don't see any good coming out of this, Suzanne.
Where would the supervision for those employees come from, Suzanne? At the jail?
well,
The statewide contract?
it could, or it could be that, well, two scenarios. Say if it was the sheriff's department that we could get them to hire them and Iowa PCA would be okay with that. I'm questioning whether or not they will be. Then the sheriff's office could supervise that. If if they said you have to use a local provider, then that would be that provider agency that would be over that. And the sheriff would have to agree for them to come in and have a contract to come in. There's a lot of things to work out. And I know the sheriff is, they value Tom and Amy's service out there. I mean, that, I can't say how much that has made a huge, I mean, 10 years ago, we didn't have a relationship with the jail and, you know, getting people to follow through with services once they left and saying, oh, stop down at the community services department. They never did. But if you're in there and you're actually setting up services for people and you build that relationship before they leave, then they get hooked up with services. So it's a huge benefit. So no matter what, we got to figure out a way to keep that available for the jail because it's been important.
So your list of concerns, specific items that you need to watch out for is how many pages long at this point?
Yeah, it's getting
It-
long and I will put that all on them when they contact me. A lot of questions, how are we going to do this?
Is it your opinion that, what do you have, 5.5 months or whatever, that's long enough period for transition? Or you think there's gonna be issues with that transition period?
No, it's not long enough, but I'm supposed to reassure you that it is plenty. We got it.
From the government.
It's a quick-
Here to help.
It's a quick turnaround, so it will be okay if there are a significant amount of people from the region, from our organization that make the transition. So then it can be a little smoother, but there's a huge learning curve of what the regions actually do.
One last question for you, Suzanne. Do you think there's a chance that the state says we're not gonna provide mental health services in jails?
There's a chance, it should be in the administrative rules that are coming out today, so I will let you know as soon as that, they said that that is talked about in the administrative rules, they just couldn't tell us what was in there, that they thought we'd be happy with it though,
Just happy as heck.
so.
Yeah, I mean, you remember, we give, when the state took over, mental health, we give every penny we levied back to the taxpayer, so we don't have any money
Right.
to cover one employee or two employees at the jail, provide training and service and all that kind of stuff. Well, hopefully,
Yeah, and we've let them know that, statewide, we've pretty much just said the county budgets are so tight at this point that, because I believe there were a few sheriffs that said, oh, we're gonna hire these people no matter what, but I think they must have been counties that had some money somewhere, but I think it's been pretty well heard by HHS that county boards of supervisors don't have any extra funds to hire individuals for that, so.
Are they still gonna have the 7 districts?
Oh, yeah, there'll be 7 different plans run by one agency.
I truly don't get it. But it's not our decision, so. Thank you for what you've done for Pot County. You've run a good team down there. Really appreciate that.
The next 5 months are gonna be rough.
Yeah.
Keep us in mind if we can help with anything.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Suzanne? Keep us posted.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, next up, Mark Eckelman, Executive Director, Pot County Tourism, and Melvin Hauser, Chairman, Potawatomi County Tourism. Update from Potawatomi County Tourism.
Okay.
Mark, Melvin.
Hello, Mark.
So, are you starting, Mark?
No, I'm just handing these out.
Okay, good work.
Thank you.
Who's this Melvin Hauser guy?
You know, I got up at 7 o'clock this morning. This is such an important, it is, to me, it's early. It's such an important
See, he's a
project.
rabble rouser already.
I get myself out of bed, get in here and talk to you guys. So just to give you a update on what the tourism committee's been doing. I wanted to give you a little history. So this says that it was formed in 2008. This committee, to the best of our recollection. But if Tim remembers, back in 2001 or 2, we were in the small boardroom. Bob Munt, who was at the time CEO and president of the chamber, who had direction over the TVB at the time, gave us a pitch where we could, partner with the county and the chamber on countywide tourism, which we thought was, I thought was a pretty good idea. But he wanted $100,000. And of course, Tim says, we can't afford that. And nothing else was done until Cindy Thompson from, it wasn't much of a pitch, it was a concept.
I think you were the one that said no, Melvin, I didn't.
That's the way I remember it. Anyway, long about, I think maybe it might have been 2006 or 7 or 8. You said 2008. Cindy Thompson, who at the time was with the Conservation Board, pushed that, and we got behind it and formed this committee. So we've been working for since 2008. What, 16 years?
17,
It's yeah.
well,
And I
17
think we've done
years.
a lot. So I want to introduce our committee members really quick. They're scattered around. Ruby Bentley and from Macedonia, and Gail Strickland representing Oakland. Kimberly Wickersham from Conservation. Becca Castle Laughlin. Are you with RC&D?
Formerly.
Wabash Trace, okay. Down in Shenandoah, and she makes the trip up here just to see us. Craig Carlson and Mark Ekman, of course, with the CDB. And who am I missing? Oh, Lance. She can sit behind you. Lance with the Lance Brisbois with the RC&D.
What about?
Well, that's fine. That's why you're scattered all over. Of course, Stacy Kenny, who'll be presenting later with Vida. And Brian and Jeff also sit on board. So we have a good cross section of the county. I wish we could get a few more outliers from, Boca, Underwood, Minden area, but we meet every other month, January, March, May, July, September, and November. And now I'll just take a few minutes, but for some of these accomplishments that we've done, some of our supporting them. So Ruby and Gail can talk a little bit about the county museum tour.
All right, Ruby and I represent 4 of the museums in East Potawatomi County. We have museums in Walnut, Avoca, Oakland, and in Macedonia. And we also have a nice little railroad display that Colleen Welber does in Carson. We are all nonprofits, and we run with donations and volunteer services. Personally, we just looked at the Oakland's book and found that 14 different states in the District of Columbia and Italy were places where people came from to visit the Nishna Heritage Museum. So it's really a place where people can see the history of rural Iowa around the 1900s. That's really what we kind of deal with. We are grateful for the Tourism Committee for putting together a museum crawl in the summer. We've done it for 2 years. We'll continue to do it next year. And we have 40 or 50 people who seem to be able to come and see all of the museums that one day in July. And we've had people from the Des Moines area, from the Omaha area, and that's because of the advertising from the Tourism Committee, and we really appreciate that. I think we're there to serve the school children in our communities. They come for tours. We have people from adult living communities who come for tours, and then just the general public. But again, we are there just operating with volunteer services, and we feel like we really are giving service to our whole county with having the history of our museums there.
Yeah, I agree with her. Yeah, we appreciate, we appreciate, she pretty well covered the museum crawl, and it's an event that, well, mostly Gail probably brainstormed, and we decided, well, this would be something good to get the people out into our rural communities to see what we have to offer there. So we enjoy hosting and sharing what we have to educate the public and connect them with our history. So we appreciate your help.
And we would also invite all of you to attend the crawl next summer in July. I think you would, some of you have been in our museums, but I think you would really be amazed at the collections and what it teaches us about our county and our history.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you for what you do.
I think Mark's gonna present a little bit on the Omaha Metropolitan Area Tourism Board.
Yeah, I have, excuse me, two hats that I wear with respect to this. My daytime job or full-time job leading the Convention and Visitors Bureau, but also one of the committee members like Gail, Ruby, and the others introduced. The Tourism Committee has been a longtime sponsor of the Omaha Metropolitan Area Tourism Awards, along with the Metropolitan Hospitality Association that really helps the presenting entity, the CVB, Visit Omaha and Sarpy County Tourism. The last 2 years have seen several different parts or aspects of the industry represented in the awards given in Pottawatomie County from the rural parts. In 2023, you might remember that the Dreamland Theater was Best Attraction, Best Restaurant was Back 40 in Macedonia, and then we also had the Occasional Collective and Trainer recognized as well. This last year, Mount Crescent won Best Attraction of the Year, and then the Best Retail Business was the Unique Boutique Iowa in Neola. So I really appreciated the support that the Tourism Committee has put behind the efforts at the CVB, Visit Omaha, and Sarpy County Tourism. And speaking of awards, it's worth noting too that Mount Crescent won the Outstanding Attraction of the Year award from the Iowa Tourism Office, and then from the Iowa Travel Industry Partners. Recently retired Mark Shoemaker was recognized with the Joe Taylor Vision Award. So trying to get out the word about the great things that are going on throughout the county and of course the city here too. And this is just one aspect of that. And I will pass it off to Stacy to talk a little bit about the Western Iowa Rural Passport.
Hi, good morning.
There should be
Stacy
something in
Kinney
your
with-
packet there. I think we got one in the packet. We handed out.
Yeah, everyone has a passport program in their packet. I'm Stacy Kinney with Western Iowa Development, and last March, Alicia Hess with the Occasional Collective out of Trainer approached me and with this great idea that she was spearheading, hoping to spearhead, to bring a rural passport program to our rural communities. And she thought that all of us working together would really make it a huge success. We jumped on board with it, and last year we had 54 businesses that it was $25 to join and a $25 gift card from each business. And then we printed off 1,250 booklets, and each business owner ended up having some to pass out amongst our tourism people. And then you'd go around to the different businesses, and then each business owner would stamp it saying, yes, you were here. And it really drew a lot of tourism into our areas, especially in the summer months when there's not a lot of travel. With that being said, we were on 4 segments of the KETV news and hit the road jack, ended up landing in Neola with a tremendous response on doing a great segment. And then he followed it up the following week with the Hoodoo Days. So with that being said, we ended up having 4 baskets valued at over $350 that were awarded at the end of the program in November to 4 different travelers. We are meeting this week, actually, with a new plan in place to see what our targeted growth, where we can reach in our rural counties. I do have to give most of the credit to Alicia Hess. I mean, she definitely worked hard to make this happen, but it took a huge team of effort to get it out into all of our communities. So we're excited for the continued growth. Anybody has any questions, or if anybody participated in it and want to add to it, feel free.
I didn't get through all of them. We went to some of them.
Yeah.
Really a neat deal.
Thanks. It
We're
was great.
excited.
You know, and Bev has got to talk about the Southwest Iowa Art Tour.
So my name is Becca Castle Laughlin. I live outside of.
Closer, sure.
Here, why don't you sit here? I'll go back to my spot.
My name is Becca Castle Laughlin. I live outside of Imogene, so not a Pot County resident, but I work on a lot of projects within Pot County. The Southwest Iowa Art Tour is one of them. It is an annual event held the third weekend in September. So this year was our 11th year. We had 20 locations, and of those, 6 of them were in Pot County, 3 in Council Bluffs, and then Neola, Avoca, and Macedonia. I'm still compiling the numbers from this year, but just to give you an idea, our 2023 numbers, we had an estimated attendance of about 2,500 people across all the locations, representing 169 unique zip codes and 16 states from the sign-in information that was submitted. From that and the surveys that we put out, we estimated an economic impact of 228,000 for the region. That's including travel, meals, all that. We had about 100 artists this year. And we're looking forward to our 12th annual event this coming fall. So just really want to thank you guys and the tourism committee for their support of this project. Any questions on that, or anybody that attended and want to provide any feedback on the event?
Didn't make that.
Been on part of it. I don't think I've been through the whole tour.
It's really hard to get to all the locations. So
Right.
20 was our biggest number of participating gathering places that we've had. In 2023, we had 18 locations, and so we jumped up 2 from that.
Is the Face Center part of this?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. Pace, Harvester, and then this year we had the Furniture Girl and Gallery.
Furniture Girl?
Yep. It's near Sam's Club, kind of tucked in behind there.
Oh, okay,
Yep.
okay.
Patty.
Yep.
Yep, Patty Wiggins, yep. And Kathy helped her with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Becca.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you guys.
You want to go back and Lance talk about the
Yep.
bicycle things?
Yep, you want to come up here with me? So, I'm also with the Wabash Trace Nature Trail, and I'm on the Iowa Bicycle Coalition, which is a statewide board. And Lance and I have helped coordinate the Iowa Trails Summit since it used to be held in Cedar Falls every year. The guy who organized it decided he needed to retire, I guess. And so with the Iowa Natural Heritage Foundation, Golden Hills, and
Coalition.
yeah, that and the Iowa Bicycle Coalition, we basically revived that event and made it to where it traveled around to different locations instead of being in one central location every year.
That was a success this year. Very big success.
Yes, yeah. So this was the first year that we combined the Iowa Trail Summit with the Iowa Bicycle Summit, which has also historically been held in Des Moines every year in January, in conjunction with the Bike Expo. It was kind of an interesting partnership. I think we learned a lot combining the 2 events and how we solicit sponsorships for it. But the tourism committee sponsored both events, and we had an outing on the taco ride for Thursday night, obviously, between the 2 events, and there was attendance of about 80 for each event, some of those overlapping and some of them unique. There were people from Decorah and Bellevue, Iowa, so all the way on the eastern side of the state that traveled all the way over for this event.
Yeah, and the local support was really important. Going forward, we're gonna have a more formal RFP process, and the local community that wants to host is gonna be required to provide it some financial support. So, having the tourism committee contribute was crucial.
Do you know where the next one's gonna be?
Not
We're
yet.
meeting in half an hour. So,
Oh.
we're thinking probably northeast.
Okay.
Thank you.
So it won't be in council once again for a few years, but the committee is excited to bring it back.
Right.
Sure.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Gals.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the list is the redesign of the waterway. Oh, that is not me. I don't know who's. Yes. Oh, are you the redesigner?
Hi, thanks for having us here. We worked with Neapolitan Labs to update our waterway.com, and that was completed in spring of 2024. Not only did that address some visual presentation opportunities, but it also addressed the user experience a little bit. So inside your packet, there's a little bit of a short breakdown of website traffic. You can see nearly 75% of the visitors to that website use mobile. So working with Neapolitan Labs to constantly adjust what we're doing and making sure that the user experience matches the expectations of our visitors. So Paula's joining us via Zoom. Happy to report that in calendar year 2024, saw upticks of 20 to 23% with users, sessions, engaged sessions for the website. Also nearly a 16% jump in website views. So certainly happy to see the numbers come back that way. We constantly work to, yeah, go ahead.
How come August, it spiked there?
The
so high?
passport program.
Oh, was it? Okay.
That's what we're
It
saying.
just went nuts there.
Passport, I think too, amongst our heavy visitors, hiking trails are a big piece. So leading into the fall, that's one of the top hits on our website. So the hiking trails are a big piece of that. Certainly the event submissions are a part of that, and Hitchcock Nature Center and what conservation does throughout the fall is a big piece to the traffic as well. So.
Okay.
Not only do we constantly push our website through our digital marketing efforts, but we also integrate that into our print advertising as well. And inside your packet, you'll see an example of some of that print material. We're working with Iowa Travel Guide to print these out. That's distributed statewide. The Council Bluffs Convention and Visitors Bureau has participated in those advertising opportunities in the past, and bringing on the Pottawattamie County Tourism Committee to offer a full page ad not only does help bring visitors to some rural attractions in Pottawattamie County, but also helps offset some costs. 2 half-page ads are more expensive than a full-page ad, so combining our efforts, kind of hope that we see a better opportunity for return on investment on that. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Craig.
Have a travel guide advertising, Mark?
Craig covered that, but I'll talk a little bit about the brochures that the committee has produced over the last several years. Again, in your pocket folder, you're going to see examples of the pieces that the committee has produced. The waterway map that shows attractions not only throughout Pottawattamie County, but specifically in Council Bluffs as well. We've got the Stars and Bronze Tribute Trail, which specifically highlights the Eagles of Honor in each one of the communities throughout Pottawattamie County, as well as anything that's a tribute to any veterans or service members along with first responders. We have the West Nishnabotna River Water Trail, the very first water trail designated by the Iowa Department of Natural Resources, certainly another key attraction. And then one of the last things that we produce is this rack card. On one side, it's promoting Mount Crescent ski area, and then on the other side, during the rest of the year, promoting trails throughout Pottawattamie County. I will say that these are distributed throughout the Omaha Council Bluffs Metro, so that they're easy access to anybody who's a traveler coming through the metro, wants to maybe spend a little bit more time and get some inspiration for picking up these brochures.
Mark, you keep these down here in the lobby?
Yeah, we've supplied conservation with a supply of those, provided them with a supply of those. So yeah, anybody coming through the courthouse can pick one of those up, as well as other places.
Mark, I took a trip out to Mount Crescent Saturday morning. And it was, I just drove around the park and looked at the nicest place by far. Nebraska, more Nebraska license than any other state over there. And I saw a lot of multis, Arkansas, Nevada, Michigan, Wyoming, Florida. I'm sure I missed a few.
They come this far to ski at our ski hill?
Yeah, it's not really surprising. I've always thought Potawatomi Conservation does great work, and they certainly have hospitality down. I think as they've learned more about the ski hill through practice, they know, there was just a story out on KETV, I think it was Sunday night, about the base that they have established and, the conditions that are much more favorable this year than they were last year. So I commend them for taking on the challenge and learning as they go. I think it's going to become increasingly year by year a bigger attraction for the county and the area.
I mentioned this before, but I'd certainly like to see it happen again in Potawatomi County, and I'm putting it out there to you. I don't know everybody here. I don't know, what everybody's, gig is in life, but certainly worth looking into for Potawatomi County. And that's the old, we call it, dance thing out there, Avoca.
The dance hall.
Old timers.
Old time barn dancing, or whatever it was. They had the bands out there. And
At the fair.
when they were going on, you try to get through Avoca. You couldn't get through. I mean, there were tens of thousands of people attending that week-long event.
Bluegrass.
Bluegrass, yeah, the Bluegrass Festival.
Bluegrass
Yes,
Festival.
Bluegrass.
That guy died.
Ruby, is that still going on?
I would know,
Oh, I quit.
but it certainly needs to happen again.
It does.
I loved it. It was a great time. Draws a lot of attention, a lot of people from a wide area, so make it happen, one of you.
I know who to talk to that might know
Well,
information.
Only money.
Wanted to take this opportunity to mention our inspirational guide as well. Obviously, this is a big player for what we do and one of the most important pieces of literature that we distribute regionally. Last year, I think the CVB had started to integrate, it had been kind of separated. So it was Council Bluffs, then Potawatomi County. I think there was a deliberate effort on the previous staff to really integrate Potawatomi County throughout. So the attractions that were one destination rather than two separate. So excited to say that we're working on the next inspirational guide, and that should be going to print this spring.
I really like the monitors down in the courthouse lobby that have all of the events and activities, and they scroll through. I'm sure you all saw them when you were coming in the doors this morning. That really helps get the word out as well.
Okay, I'll try to kind of wrap up here a little bit. Just to let you be aware of the economic impact of tourism in this county. The direct spending last year was $336.24 million. Just in Potawatomi County, it's the sixth highest, the 99 counties in Iowa. And throughout the whole state, the tourism industry spent the folks taking part in the tourism industry spent over $7 billion. And that's what I always liked about this industry was that people would come to your community, leave their money and go away without causing too much trouble. They don't tear up the roads, they don't pollute the water, they don't pollute the sky, so, they come in, leave their money, and they go away. I always thought it was a pretty good deal to have, so. The committee's not asking, that you budget any more money than you did last year. We're asking for the same amount. I think the $65,000 is a lot of, and I think that you budget that amount, and consider that in your, this year's budget. We would appreciate it, and I think the communities throughout the county and all these answers appreciate your support also. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks for, letting us present.
No.
So
Correction.
everywhere you go, you hear about the importance of placemaking. And I think every person in this room has been responsible in one way or another for bringing people into our communities to see what a great place we have. It's just really good to see the efforts going forward, and continued momentum is necessary.
I would make one request that you folks talk to your state representatives about the importance of this tourism and our parks and those things, because what they're doing to us for our budgets is gonna be subject to future activities and growth and those things. I just would encourage you to make sure your story is heard loud and clear, because the budgets, funding may become an issue in the future if they keep on turning this spigot off. So thank you for all you do and all you'll do down the road for us.
Thanks for driving this far. Appreciate that.
The gate's still open. Okay, moving along. Stacy Kenny, Executive Director, Western Iowa Development, update on WIDA and discussion or decision on funding request. Stacy, how
Hi,
are you?
good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for having me today, Board of Supervisors. Mr. Belk, congratulations on your newly appointed position and for taking that time when I call to take my calls and with people. I
My
appreciate
emails I
that.
send you.
And all my emails, yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Over the past year, White has been really active and involved in our rural communities with a primary focus on establishing ourselves as an expert in our rural Potawatomi County. In my role for the face of WIDA, I have the executive director position, but I am definitely the face of our rural Potawatomi County. For the past 15 months, I feel like I've fostered great relationships with numerous businesses, nonprofits, and city officials. As a result of these efforts, we have increased business awareness by 500%. We regained Neola as a city sponsor, and we've welcomed 5 new businesses since 2025, the start. In 2024, we successfully promoted 230 community events and businesses. We launched a 12 Days of Christmas initiative where our small business owners awarded a $20 giveaway at the end of each day. Our social media presence on platforms like Facebook has reached record levels, demonstrating sustained strategic promotions. And Mitch, will you turn the slide? You can keep going, keep going. One more, please. And we assisted host the Minden Bowling. Could you get to that slide for me, Mitch, please? Just keep going. It should say the Minden Bowling Alley. We assisted host the Minden Bowling Alley ribbon cutting. Our Facebook post reached over 12,000 organic views. And WIDA was present at 21 ribbon cutting ceremonies in 2024. Our ribbon cuttings are really very important in our rural communities, just to show like a new business, get it out there and bring in a lot of different tourism into that community. We are partnering currently with Amber Moore. She is from Avoca Main Street. We have 4 ribbon cuttings planned for the next 2 months in Avoca alone. It's very important for us to continue partnerships with Western Iowa Rural Passport, Advanced Southwest Iowa, Community Foundation for Western Iowa, Iowa West Foundation, Potawatomi Tourism Committee, and the Council Bluffs Chamber. We have all come together on my onboarding, and I personally feel that the collaboration is key. We are all better together. Let's see, for this year, WIDA, we have ambitious goals to enhance economic vitality and community engagement within our businesses in rural Potawatomi County. A few of our achieved goals include, we are working on a website revamp. This will require more help with our web development, content creation, and maintenance. Our quarterly newsletter reaches over 1,500 people via email, but then we also print that out And our goal for March with our newsletter, it will be dispersed within businesses and communities that are not current WIDA members. Our membership growth and increased exposure through targeted outreach, networking events, and member benefits promotion is a key priority. We're working with the tourism, Potawatomi County Tourism Committee with there is a tourism enhancement grant. Then I already touched on the passport program. If anybody has any questions on that, feel free. Currently, we are working with the Minden Triangle Project, capturing and highlighting photos of businesses recovery post-tornado is essential for community resilience and support. Funding is needed to document and share these stories effectively. And I'm currently working with the Community Foundation requesting a grant for this project. Media,
Clark County Community Foundation.
yes, no, the Community Foundation, yes, Donna, yes.
Yeah.
Western, yeah, my
We
apologies.
need a letter, us to support that request. We would.
You know what? I would love that. I will find out Friday if the grant has been approved. But I'm meeting with Donna on Friday also to discuss it in person. Okay, that'd be great. Appreciate that.
Okay.
Media coverage. I'm currently working with a media coverage podcast company to try to bring some of the still photography that I've created along with our small rural business owners to do like an 8-minute clip that we can share on our platforms, our social media platforms with our website and along with our Facebook. Let's see. To ensure the success of these impactful initiatives and meet our goals of 2025, WIDA is requesting an increased funding, and that's in your packets. I can say on my 15 months of coming on with WIDA, I really enjoy what I'm doing, and I know that I'm being noticed in the community, and we greatly appreciate your support. And if anyone has any questions or anything.
So we've previously funded at 50,000 and the request this year is for 60,000.
Yes, correct, for an additional 10,000.
Have you met with the cities?
Yes, I have. Yes, and last week I was actually in Carson, so I did a presentation.
And what's their commitment?
They're committed. I'm assuming I just sent out all the cities invoices, the end of December, and I know they're still working on their budgets for the year.
Did you request more funding from the cities?
No, I have not.
Are you going to?
I did not this year, no.
City funding is on a per capita of $2.50 per resident, and we work off of the 2020 census.
Lisa, you do an excellent job.
Thank you.
And
Thank you very much.
Appreciate what you do.
I'm really enjoying it.
And I'm totally impressed because I think WIDA was going to go away. What has happened in the last 15 months is incredible. And I hear nothing but good out there. So,
Thank you.
and it really promotes so much out there.
Well, our small communities deserve the best.
Okay, Stacy, I would ask one thing for you to give the information about that grant to Jeanette here, so that I
Okay.
can help her with the letter.
I'll send the letter over to her.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
And then I see you have a lot of interested board members there. Do they have anything to add to?
Rebel
those
Rousers.
stories?
I promise not to speak.
Really? Well, I was gonna
That's
give, I was
rare.
gonna give you 30 seconds.
That's rare.
Question.
Go ahead. Yes.
Well, I can just say that, I have family
None of you,
members.
please.
Oh, Julie Bishop.
Julie Bishop, okay.
I have family members outside of the state And they really enjoy being able to pull up the newsletter online and look at it and know what's going on back here with the different businesses and things, and having family members that have their own businesses. They're kind of like interested in like how this all works and trying to start things in their local areas. So
Well, thank you. Thanks,
That was, another thing I wrote down, Stacy. I can't think of the gentleman's name, but what's your relationship kind of like with the newspaper, people out there in, Avoca?
Dawn,
Yeah, Don, what's his last name? Nilsson, yeah.
I have not met Dawn, actually.
You need to go meet Don.
Okay,
Okay? And figure out how you guys can put the message.
partner up, okay,
Okay,
all right. I work very closely with Amber Moore and she's on the Main Street.
no,
But I will
this guy-
definitely meet
This
Don.
guy controls the paper.
Okay,
We give him a lot of money.
is Oakland.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Oakland Avoca paper, which covers the 3 school districts and.
Hey, Steve, here's the guy that we need to,
Are you done?
Yes, I am. Thank you for your
I
time.
would make a motion to approve the additional $10,000 up to $60,000 total for WIDA development.
Second that.
is that from out of gaming?
Yes, it is.
It was 60,000 prior, up until 2021, right?
Yes, it was. That's in your packet.
WIDA was kind of going away at that point.
We are back strong.
A bigger, stronger way for our small communities.
Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes.
Thank you all very,
Thank
very
you.
much.
We expect to hear even bigger, better things next time.
See you soon.
But get up to Des Moines and let them know what's going on.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Everybody, thanks for coming in.
Ron, how's things in Shelby?
Still growing.
Still growing, huh?
Yeah, we grew 13% population since last, head count.
You got a bunch of those houses going in up there then?
Got 2 going in. They were digging basements, this weekend on them. Yeah.
Okay.
Got a meeting with, potential development tomorrow and yeah.
This is in Shelby, Iowa,
Shelby County,
Shelby County.
and then Pot County, we own part.
Half our city limits sits in Pot County. Everything from the cemetery
Truck
south
stop.
is in
Okay.
Pot County.
Hold on.
But just keep on sending us the money, right?
Ron, did they ever open that Mexican place in the old Dairy Queen?
They're still working on it.
Okay. Each of our little towns are growing very well. Excited about that. That's where our growth's gonna be.
Got a lot of hammering going on in Minden.
Yeah, I've been through there. I was there through there last weekend.
Hammer in the morning, hammer in the evening.
Yeah.
Hammer at supper time.
This is good.
How many houses are going up in Trainer right now?
Well, there was just a meeting last week and Alan and I were, well, actually, the mayor we're working on a new road. As you know, we've been talking to the county,
You looking for a name for it?
the Scott Belt Expressway for $1 million. Don't you agree, Alan?
I got $2.
The Beltway.
The Beltway.
Beltway,
The
yeah.
Beltway.
We already had one of those. They changed it to Eastern Hills Drive.
Oh,
I would say just the one thing, Scott, I appreciate what you said. I watched last week and I'm glad I didn't come with the state legislators here. I thought you did very, very well, but I did want to, on behalf of not only the small towns, but the Iowa League of Cities, that very same morning, I had a meeting with Alan Kemp and we were working on strategies on the property tax reform that supposedly they're getting no help from, and all that the cities do is criticize. I heard this word verbatim. All that the ILOC does is criticize, and that's not true. I just want to let you know that the
Well, I
city.
knew it wasn't true.
Well, I could tell by your demeanor that you were right at it. So I wanted to say I appreciate that because I was at the camera looking, going, no, that's a lie. So I just wanted to let you know that they are active along with, I'm sure ISAC has got something that they're forming to do, but the League of Cities certainly is not taking it laying down, and it will affect the first thing that's cut from the budgets, from the property tax reform, first will be the placemaking activities because they can't afford it. And number two will be the emergency services that certainly cannot be funded at the level that police, fire, and all the other protections that we need. Those are the first things that have to go and will go.
Libraries.
Libraries will be third. Swimming pools are part of that placemaking. They'll be out the door. So those are the kind of things that all cities worry about.
Those are tough decisions. And an even tougher one was the Suzanne deal where I have 20, whatever, let's say 15 people I've invested 25 years into money, taxpayer money, and I gotta tell them, you're done.
You're done.
You know, I mean, that's crazy.
How well did the cutting fire department and police work out for California? Think of that.
Point well taken. Well, and
Doesn't seem to be working well.
I think the thing for Pot County that Scott remembers that the property tax reform that they're talking about will affect those with high growth. We all know that, and a lot of people around here don't worry about the Waukees, the Bondurants, and the Marions of the world, but it'll also affect greatly the people like Mitch over here that have the tight budgets, that have no growth, they're sitting there at a smaller city level, that every dollar means something, and you take away even $10 off that budget, it is very critical to the smallest of the communities in Iowa, so.
Well, to take a cookie cutter and say, okay, you guys are all in the same cookie cutter.
Yep.
And so now figure it out. So, no, thank you very much.
Thanks for coming in, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Stacy, we don't have a meeting.
Next Wednesday.
Okay.
I'll send you another invite.
No, I'm good. For some reason, I wrote it for tomorrow.
Ellen, you giving me some secrets?
What?
You giving John some secrets?
Good. How much go?
He wouldn't name the road after me yet.
You guys, thanks.
Okay, have a good one.
Thanks, Alan.
Okay. John, you're by yourself, right?
Yes.
John Rasmussen, engineer, the assistant, not present, discussion and or decision to approve and sign project plans for BROS-CO 78 parent 177 parent -8J-78, a bridge replacement project on 210th Street over Pigeon Creek.
So move.
Second. Okay, discussion.
This is for an April 15th letting. It's a 8J, so we'll spend the money locally and be reimbursed 80% of the project costs through federal funds. There's a cover page there. If I could get each of you to sign the cover page. The land sheet, yeah.
What's that right now? That's a better not sign until we vote.
It's a truss bridge and no, you can't have it for a bicycle bridge.
You know, you gotta get over that. They're 120 years old.
Any other discussion?
So this is just to take it out for project plans, or just, we've got the project plans, so the next step is to,
So we're in the DOT process. We can submit this now for an April letting. So we'll send it on to the DOT. It's due this month. I don't remember what day, but then I'll go in the queue and be advertised for a letting for Ames.
put it in the schedule for completion in 25, or will it wrap into 26?
It should wrap up in 25. I'm not sure it'll be fall. We won't really know until we get a contractor in. So if it lets in April, it'll be about a month before we get a schedule out of the contractor.
You have the materials for this, John?
No, this is a different style letting here.
And they drill each rivet out so we can.
They might let you come out and do it.
Oh, yeah, I'll bet they will.
Any other discussion?
Nope.
Say aye.
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 Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes. Okay, just all the board, no, Mary Ann doesn't have to sign this.
Correct.
John, I got a question, just real quick. It might sound like a stupid question, but I don't know. Are there any toll roads?
No, I don't think.
Everybody talk about toll roads?
Madison Avenue.
I think you had to have a deal with the feds way back when on funding and that sort of stuff to do that. So I think that's why the states that have them and some are just put out. So I think.
You pay whatever you're going over the speed limit.
Ooh,
First toll road I ever paid for was in Illinois. Plenty of them out there.
I didn't know I was on a toll road once in Chicago until I got the ticket. After I'd gone through the. Okay,
they
here you
could
go.
have just a fee.
Well, they send you, you're supposed to pay the toll,
Now they just take a picture of your license plate.
send you a bill.
Thank you. Thanks, John.
Okay, you're still up, John.
We didn't have the next item in our packet. Was there any handout for it?
There wasn't a handout provided for that one. Sorry about that. The Lewis A
Hold on
Bridge.
a second, hold on. John Rasmussen, engineer, discussion or decision to recommend and endorse addition of Bridge Lewis A, FHWA pound 284900 to fiscal year 2026 5-year plan. Okay, there we go.
That item's really to get us moving. It's project support for a grant. It's the first bridge on Pioneer Trail east of Wabash. We should have gave a location map. Sorry about that. Qualifies for federal funding, but we're going to pursue a grant. So the item today just kind of builds support for me to actually make the grant application. We're probably 4 or 5 years for construction on something like that. So
I'll make a motion to approve
it's
that.
way preliminary, but I should have gave you a location. Apologize.
I thought when you sent that to me, it went to everybody, but, cause I called you and asked you where it was at.
I think I just responded to you. So,
Okay, so I got a motion by Shay.
And what's accelerating it?
really, I'm just trying to talk to the board support for the project. So the motion's to put it in the next 5-year plan that we're gonna be doing in April. So it's just for me to show I have board support for the project. But it's kind of an odd item, I guess. But
Okay, the way it's worded, and here again, I don't have all the details, but it looks like it was being moved into fiscal year 2026. But it's just being moved into the 5-year plan that will be updated in 2026.
right, in the 5-year plan, you'll approve that in April, so it's kind of preliminary to that even, but
Okay. And
John, is this a new bridge?
yes.
Why would we build a new bridge when we have 25 bridges that are still deficient?
This is a deficient bridge, so this is a
Okay, so
greatest sport.
So it's not a new bridge, we're replacing one.
Yes, we're replacing.
Big difference.
Sorry, yes.
Okay. In the 5-year, where's your 5-year plan?
We're bringing that to you in April.
All right, is L34 on it?
Yes, there's a segment in the center from about G30 up to Sumac, I believe, is in the 5-year plan. It's not fully funded yet, but
Is G30 on it?
oh, no.
How about Tamarack?
It's in there as illustrative. That's another one we're looking for grants on.
How about 240th Street?
No.
How about 192nd?
That one's also listed illustratively, looking for grants.
M47?
We have a segment of that for construction in 26 from 6 to 92.
Is there a weight restriction on this bridge right now?
No, there's not.
We can change your 5-year plan anytime we want to, right?
Yeah, with amendment, you can change it, but we'll be bringing you a draft here pretty quick.
Are you still waiting on a second?
I am.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes. Matt White, Director of Planning and Development, and Maria Seek, Public Health update on award for the Public Health Preparedness Coordinator position with discussion and decision of posting the position. Welcome aboard.
Thanks for having me back. I think it was around 2 weeks ago, we brought you our organizational chart for approval on that. And on that, organizational chart, it listed out this preparedness coordinator position with the job description and things for that. But we had notified you at that time that once we received award notification from the state of Iowa that we could, that we were funded for this, that we would come back and let you know before any postings of that position happened. We did get the award notification on January 8th, from the state of Iowa. And I think this is all to do with that SWIP preparedness grant and CRI funding. That's the City Readiness Initiative, that Mills County Public Health is currently the fiscal agent of. And we had planned for this position to put in to help us with that, a smoother transition when we can assume that role for that grant contract. But the state did award us the funding, and it will require a budget amendment from us. So we've talked to Mitch and Becky about that to make sure that they understand that part of it. But yeah, we're excited that we got notification of it.
When would that start?
It's, would be July 1. Sorry.
So you'll hire that from that date?
No, we got awarded for current funding on
Okay.
this. So there's funding available for it for this year. And then, it rolls also then funding for next year as well.
Jason, you can shut, not running right now, just shut off.
Actually, just the temperature of 4 degrees.
Go down, so it doesn't run. It's plenty hot.
Matt, so what are they providing for the rest of this fiscal year?
$45,619.
And then in July 1, they'll provide a grant for the whole calendar year.
Right, it's 100% grant funded
We
position.
have a person in this position right now.
No, we do not.
We'll have to hire somebody
We will be hiring. Yep, we will.
within,
What's that?
within.
I don't know if it will come from an employee from within. I would more expect it to be probably somebody from outside the agency. Thank you.
I'll second that.
Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Down to measure for my shirt. Good. Okay. Becky, good morning.
Peggy?
Well, I mean, excuse me, Peggy. Let's see, Becker.
My whole life.
Okay. Peggy Becker, Administrator, Veteran Services, discussion and or decision to review and approve MOU with Omaha Veterans Center to use the Veteran Service Conference Room or veteran counseling sessions.
Generally, this is something you guys don't have to approve because it's not after hours, but because it's an official document, I felt the need to put it in front of you. Vet Center is requesting use of our facility 2 times a month for 2 hours each time for counseling services for veterans. Currently, they're counseling the veterans that are tied to the Veterans Treatment Court. If that branches into anything else, I'm not sure at this point in time.
I'll move that, make a motion to approve that.
I'll second.
Twice a month for how long did you say?
2 hours each time. Legal
Do
has
they already specify the dates and?
Friday. It's like every other Friday.
Every other
from-
Friday?
I think it's 8:30 to 10:30.
Okay, so you have those already
Correct.
for the full year?
Correct.
Okay.
This is till 2029, November
The-
30th of 2029.
No, things have changed between then.
And it is revocable by either party with a 30-day notice.
Okay. So why don't they use one of the other little rooms? Do they need that great big room then?
Because at the time that they started using us, those rooms weren't available. And right now they're seeing 5 people. It would be a little difficult to put
Oh, so
5
they see
people.
5 at a time?
Right now they are.
Okay.
That
Wow.
can fluctuate.
Okay. Wow. Okay. We got a motion by Shay and a second by Jordison. Any other discussion?
Thanks for doing that.
We've been trying to get these guys since we were in the annex building.
Well, I was gonna say,
This is quite a feather.
I was surprised when I seen that they always said they were coming, but they never came. So,
Good job, Becky.
No other discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes. What do we have with the signage
For them coming,
to put it up on the building?
April, wasn't it?
right now it's in manufacture.
Really?
The signage, so they're saying 4 to 6 weeks for manufacture and then it should be going up.
Wow. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm anxious to see that.
Yeah.
I
I
think
go by
it'll
that
look really
building
nice.
and
It'll
we
look
talked
really
about it
nice.
yesterday.
Fine.
It'll be
I
nice.
thought- Probably did that quite a while ago. Time flies, I guess.
Thanks, Peggy.
Thank you.
Okay. Jason Slack, Director, Buildings and Grounds, and Mike Geyer, Business Unit Leader. Wow, what kind of title is that? Business Unit Leader. Snyder and Associates.
Just
Discussion and or decision concerning design for access to the courthouse entrance.
You should have some plans before you, Mike had worked up for us to make sure that, we get rid of our curb that, people keep tripping on and still ensure that we have proper drainage in the area. He's got a estimated, cost of $55,082.50 with a 10% contingency in there figured. Have you all had a chance to review those plans?
Yeah.
It's this terminology and the maps didn't really help me understand. I know nothing about construction and concrete. So PCC pavement, what is PCC?
Portland cement concrete.
There we go, okay. I was trying to confuse it with PVC and it just wasn't making any sense whatsoever.
Concrete pavement.
Jason, for further, for further reference, I've been down there. I always take a look at that curve when I get in the courthouse. Now I got signs down there, which helps. But there's almost like it's a garage almost, because it looks like to me, it tends to slope up a little bit, and then there's a little, it's not a regular curve. I think a regular curve, a street curve, would have been more noticeable, in my opinion. You just gotta, it kind of slopes up a little bit, and then there's a red line there. You don't, it's not evident that you have to step up, in my opinion. I mean, that's just for further reference.
Well, we did paint it red to try to give that,
Yeah, but again, I don't think the red line makes that noticeable as it is.
we have had multiple people fall, even up until last week. We had a couple people fall.
Well, what's the number up to, Garfield?
It's probably rough around 12, 15.
Okay.
Something.
It's,
I'm sorry.
What's the plan to fix it?
So the plan to fix it would be to tear out the concrete in this area. And, for new concrete, it would be even with the curb, while not disturbing the in sidewalk heat that's existing there. And then in order to prevent people from backing up into the front entrance or deliberately driving up into the front entrance, we've got ballards in an ellipse there across that whole entire front entrance area.
And those match the existing bollards that are out along the parking lot. So you got,
Michael, what'd you do with the drainage?
it'll still continue to sheet drain the way it does now. Because there are no intakes and storm sewer
Right,
system
right.
within the parking lot. So that's kind of why we have to remove as much as we are. Is so that the transition going back will allow it to continue to sheet drain. We tried minimizing that, but it wasn't working. We ended up with kind of a V going out to the second joint. So that's why we went out to the third joint.
Okay.
So we're pretty much following the existing jointing that is there for removals. So it'll go back and
I hate to have to spend the money because our previous engineers didn't do the right thing. But we really need to fix this, and I'm gonna make a motion to approve this project.
I'll second that for discussion.
Okay.
When we engineered this project, they engineered 2 entrances and exits from the courthouse off to the side. So it's not like they didn't engineer it right. They probably should have changed the way they did it. But they provided 2 exits and entries for the for the people. We're making this change because of inability for some people to make that step up off the parking lot onto our sidewalk. Mike,
Step down also.
Yeah.
If you're eliminating the hazard that's there, you're taking away the hazard so that it's convenient
wasn't a,
for all ages to come in and out of the courthouse.
But we should have, engineer wise, they should have known that people walk directly from the parking lot toward the front door. They don't go left or right by 10 or 15 yards and head for the front door.
Right. I mean, human nature is to go towards the door and not
That's right.
go around to
Right.
the door. Human nature is leaving the parking lot going straight,
Straight to
so
the door.
it's kind of hard to take away human nature to go to the door,
The
not,
engineers did.
right. And even if you had to exit the building, human nature is to go straight out the building.
Yes, it is.
And for emergency or non-emergency, people go straight out the building, so.
are we taking, oops,
Go ahead.
are we taking the curb out?
Yes.
Okay. Mike, on that, on your sheet C3, show me the transition from our existing sidewalk to where the new concrete's gonna be placed.
On the detailed sheet,
Yes.
Say C3.
the joint, budding pavement slab of the upper left corner. So it's just basically a smooth transition going from existing to new.
And I think you're putting rebar in there, right? to join
Not there. We won't put rebar along the sidewalk because that has to be drilled for the onto any existing concrete. And with the heating system in there, we don't want to drill into that sidewalk. We are drilling and doweling everything out in the parking lot. So that's tied together, but we're not gonna do it there at the sidewalk.
Okay, explain to me C joint in the curb.
Which one?
C. I think it's C. The joint in the
That,
curb.
that's just a saw joint. C joint,
Talking contraction joint.
so on C2, sheet C2,
No, I'm on C3.
no, I'm just saying it identifies the joints on sheet C2 where the different jointing is being used.
I'm with you on that. Mr. Coleman, have you reviewed this?
Yes, I have.
What's your recommendation on this?
That we approve it and move forward. Jason and myself.
If we were to do that,
You seconded it. So Mitch, what's up? We taking out Garfield's budget or Stacy's budget?
I like the Garfield. It'll make ours look better.
Where's it, where we
Yeah.
gonna?
It probably makes sense coming out of the land building improvement fund, fund
Okay.
19.
So, somebody wanna correct their,
Yes, I'll make a motion to approve with the funds coming out of the land and building improvement fund.
we'll put another mark or star with, you know.
That'd be this.
Second,
Curse. Yeah. We would probably get started this fiscal year, yeah.
second, Curse.
I don't care where we take it. Brian said that. I'll agree with Brian.
Okay.
So what's the timeline? How long will it be tore up? And do we need another plan for fire trucks and ambulances? If the front entrance, if that much of the concrete is removed from in front of the building.
Shouldn't take that long. I mean, it's gonna be no different than what you had when the was under construction originally.
But we
As
had
far
the
as
other entrance at
accessibility.
that point.
Go ahead with 2 entrances.
We'll still maintain the entrance there for pedestrian entrance. That'll still be maintained.
Okay.
We won't do anything on the existing sidewalk and out to the existing crosswalks. So they'll put up construction barricades when they get it all, removed. So that will force people to use the crosswalks.
They will still have access to the ramp that comes up
Fire truck and
and,
ambulance would have to park.
and,
We want to make sure we're not thinking about that.
yeah, they have access to the ramps, and then as they come around, they have access to the sidewalk, to the steps.
I can't imagine it would be more than a couple weeks. It should go pretty darn quick. Once they get started and once a contractor is selected, we can press upon them that, hey, once you start, you don't stop till you're done. So that's not removed and sitting there for
We want to put
weeks
that
at a
in there.
time.
We want to put that in there before they bid it, though. That way they
Yeah.
know they're bidding it.
Well,
and let's see if we can get them to work these maybe Saturday. Also,
I don't see anything in the bid either for pouring concrete when it's cold. We need,
Yeah, we're not gonna do it.
You don't want
Yeah, this winter, we'll wait till spring.
Yeah,
but
hopefully,
are we allowed to do that?
What's that?
Ask them to work Saturday too.
Yeah.
Six days a week.
It could cost you more
We'll see.
if you make it a requirement.
Well, we're making an exception on the bid, separate the line item for Saturdays. Put out the bid, right?
Yeah, we'll come up with some language and put in there when we go out for bids.
Line item for- Okay.
Jason, real quick, are we taking out that crosswalk on the north side?
No, those crosswalks, they'll stay.
it goes right crosswalk to crosswalk.
I see the crosswalk on the south side, on the drawing. I don't see it on the north. Where is it?
Goes to that sidewalk over to this city hall.
Yeah, by the flagpole.
You can see where that sidewalk comes down by the flagpole. And you can see where the removal and replacement starting the removal and replacement starting just to the south of that crosswalk on the north side.
You're talking about the gray area?
Yeah,
That's all gonna be removed.
that's all removed and replaced.
Okay, where's the crosswalk then?
we're trying to look at eight little
Yeah,
trees
it's
and
really-
scrolling and it's hard to track.
Existing crosswalk on the north side is there.
From where to where?
Identified as these truncated domes. That's the
Collards.
no, the truncated domes, the handicap, the bubbles.
Oh,
the
yeah,
dots
yeah,
on
yeah.
the thing. So that's one on that side there and one on that side here.
They're called
So it's
domes.
basically right. Truncated domes,
That's what they're called.
domes.
It's the one in the south. It's these, right? There's our crosswalk.
No, that's painted. I don't recall if that's painted on the north or not.
Okay, so our crosswalks are there.
Yeah.
That's all I care about. Okay,
Those will not be disturbed.
okay.
Questions?
Anything else? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
I,
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes. Okay, Steve Winchell, Chief Deputy, Sheriff, and/or Sam,
Thanks, you guys.
Communications Center, discussion or decision on hiring and pay of a new employee to start, at step 4. Steve, how are you, buddy?
Morning.
Good, good morning.
Sam's not here, actually downstairs in interviews right now.
Yeah, that's right.
As you guys are aware, we're always trying to get people hired downstairs.
We're getting some folks.
This employee comes to us with 9 years full-time service, 3 years part-time service. That's 2 agencies in Iowa and 1 in South Dakota, so she has a lot of experience with the job, so he thinks step 4 is appropriate.
What does that do dollar wise? Jana left from that, whatever step 1 to step 4.
I do not know the dollar amounts.
Okay.
This isn't the Haley Lee, I take it.
No,
yeah, I don't know why this one's in the packet.
no. We can do, as you guys, we've talked about many times, we can do up to step 2. without the board, But
Dan, there she is.
Yes, sorry.
Sam,
What's this do for, hey,
I know step 4, do you know off the top of your head? I don't.
I do not have step 4 memorized, but I can send Heather a text real fast. And are you asking about like what this might do for compression and about the other individuals?
No,
Oh,
just
you want to know what it is?
what the difference between, I guess, step 3 and 4 or step 1 and 4?
$26.92.
Okay, what's step 3?
That. Steve hasn't texted me back. I did $25 is step 1. And so then you have 2.5% between each.
So move.
Second.
Okay,
Appreciate it.
Tim,
Yes.
seconded by Shay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes.
Appreciate it.
Okay,
Thanks for coming.
Mr.
It's a long day.
Mr. Winchell,
See you in a couple hours. Yes, sir.
where are we at with our donation with the bracelet thing?
I've not talked to Donna. I don't know
Donna
with,
Dostal?
Yeah, I've not
Why?
spoken with her yet.
What's she gotta do?
She's managing that fund. I haven't asked to see of what fund.
We haven't
if any of
ordered the stuff or anything yet?
That's not on the agenda.
No.
I know it's not on the agenda. I'm not voting on it.
Yeah. We can talk this afternoon.
Okay, well, why don't you give me an update somehow?
Yeah.
What we're looking at for a timetable. I thought it was, when you guys were in there with time.
We're in discussion with Council Boss PD and the fire department to find dates to do the training.
Oh, okay,
Yep, that's where we're at.
okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys waiting to see how long you can sit in here?
Okay, Lee Boss,
Joe is working if we're across the street. I'm ready to get your pillow.
Lee Boss,
Paul Hazelwood to call him back.
Lee Boss, County Treasurer, discussion and decision to approve Potawatomi County Treasurer semi-annual report for 7/1 of 2024 to 12/31 of 2024. Don't know if Lee's planning on coming up or not.
I don't think so. This is just a regular routine
No,
report.
she normally comes.
Did you move that, Brian?
I have not. But I will.
All right, I'll second that.
Discussion? No discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Okay, Mary Ann Hanusa, Auditor, discussion and decision on precinct election officials compensation.
Well, thank you. This is, simply a recap of the current, wages or current, amounts that are set for, election, workers, $250 per election, $8 per hour for precinct chair, and $200 per election and $8 per hour for precinct officials. And this is, as I said, there is no increase. This is simply the same amount. Given that we have federal elections every 2 years and then city elections in the years in between, best practice, would dictate that we just simply put this in front of you every year so that, there's no confusion or no misunderstanding, with any election or any election worker as to what the rates are. So this is, there is no change. It's just standard.
I'll move this for you.
Thank you.
Second.
Is this in your budget, Mary Ann?
I believe it is. Yes.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes. Discussion and decision on board's assignments to 2025 representative appointments.
What do we need to approve what we changed?
Yep.
So moved.
Second.
This is the latest and greatest.
Yeah, except for there's one correction with 65,000 in the
But
tourism committee, and now which call will change to WIDA, so.
Okay.
Jeanette made those corrections, so. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes. Okay, update from board members on committee meetings from last week. Who wants to start that?
I'll start,
Okay.
was at the veterans meeting yesterday, just to give you an update. And things are going along very well. Appreciate their efforts.
Okay, I have a lot of meetings, but, my committees were Board of Health. And, that was actually the only committee I was on last week. And then Saturday, they had a fundraiser for the, Bicycle Trail Committee. And that turned out well. And then yesterday I was at the VA, Council Bluffs Visitor Bureau. And that was it on that. A lot of other meetings, so.
It was my off week for county. It was my on week for everything else.
Yeah, funerals.
It's funerals.
Yeah.
Yeah, seems like it. Tim, anything?
Nope.
Okay. I was at the Board of Health meeting too. We're still waiting from some words from Mills County, so we'll see what happens there. Public comment. You guys are up. Which one? Both of you?
Both of us.
Wow.
Got ham and egg.
Okay. Well, we'll give you.
Collect these,
Pardon?
does someone collect?
Yeah, that one. For the record.
Thank you.
We too were watching when the legislators were here and, since you guys are always our partner on TIF and you're always the beneficiary of TIF, we thought we'd give you a little update on TIF and Brandon's gonna start.
I'm Brandon Garrett.
I'm gonna waive the 3 minutes if you don't mind. Let you
That's
speak.
why we brought two of us, so we could get 6 minutes.
Oh, and now you can tell me that we're getting into the meat and potatoes here.
I can fix that up.
Do you need my address?
Oh,
Okay, all right.
So you wrote it on there, didn't you?
I did write it on there.
Perfect.
Okay. Well, I'll just start out by saying, if we're not growing, we're dying. And that's how, Mayor Jean Stothert led her presentation last night to the Council Bluffs City Council. She was, in attendance to give a presentation on the Omaha streetcar and went on to say that, and with a very informative map as well, showing all of Douglas County and how it was essentially all built out and probably will be within the next probably 15 years. So what that has forced is a conversation and a forward-looking conversation, especially for the city of Omaha, is to how to continue to grow so that they don't die and they can continue to bring in the workforce that's needed for the growing employment sector. So one of their strategies is to start concentrating on infill and redevelopment. And then obviously the focus of that presentation was the Omaha streetcar and how that is facilitating growth already now that it's been committed to. And where people, the developers and property owners know where the line will be, even more development is starting to happen in anticipation of that. You know, these development projects take years to materialize. The streetcar should be, the line should be completed by 2027, and I think operational by 2028, which at this point in time, that's about how long it takes to get a development project put together. So this stuff is just starting to get approved and starting to come out of the ground, that sort of thing. The other thing, and partly why we have the city of Omaha's ear at this point in time, is they realize too that there's only so much infill and redevelopment that can happen within the city of Omaha proper. The city of Council Bluffs has a lot of opportunities for future additional growth. We have all of our edge opportunities on the edge of the city that you're all familiar with. We also have our own infill and redevelopment opportunities, such as the Dodge Park Golf Course is a city-owned piece of ground. It's something that we are looking into. It's just, we're researching it. And then as well, that First Avenue and West Broadway corridor that's been studied for 10, 15 years. Now we have redevelopment plans, et cetera. We are currently in the process of a planning and environmental linkages study for the FTA to study
bus or streetcar, in that corridor, that would help to, influence a lot of that development that Omaha is already seeing and all the other cities that we visited. If you want to take a short trip down to Kansas City, check that out, all of the development that has happened. Talk about a different world than 20 years ago. There are areas of Kansas City I wouldn't have gone to in the daytime in that streetcar corridor. But now you see, artists and families and hotels all along that corridor, and they are expanding it all the way from Union Station. It's going all the way down to the plaza now. I think that should be open probably within the next 4 months. And they are also expanding it north out of the downtown River Market towards their women's soccer stadium. So it is extremely successful there in Omaha or in Kansas City, all these cities. That's a big model for Omaha. Now we have an opportunity to perhaps connect onto that. We're merely in the study stages for that. Now, shifting gears a little bit, the property tax law that all of you are probably painfully aware of, that has come down over the last couple of years. Last year, we would have seen over 11% growth in our property tax revenue. That directly affects our general fund. However, due to the different calculations required by that law, we ended up with just over 7%. So a little bit of a hit there. And then, with that, if we had 11%, we could have, adjusted down the levy, et cetera. But we only ended up with 7%, not a huge hit. We were able to survive that first year, but now we have the numbers back from the county for this coming year, fiscal year 26 coming up. And had that law not existed, we would have realized 5.3% growth. But after you go through all the calculations required by law, we will be required to go down to a point where we will only realize a 3.28% increase in our general fund, which is less than $1 million. It was like $900-some-thousand. And what that represents for us in the early stages of budgeting is approximately a $1 million deficit in our general fund. We have time to shift a little bit on that and try to solve for that deficit. We also have fire union negotiations coming up, and that's only going to increase that deficit for FY26, wherever we end up landing on that. I don't have solid numbers for you yet. This is all pretty fresh information. That's why I'm here today. Now, that's not sustainable. We can't deficit budget for the next 20, 30 years. So what the city is doing is we are aggressively working to expand the tax base. It's about all we can do. We have been doing that. We're going to continue to do that. And a lot of that development simply can't happen without our greatest tool in the state of Iowa for development is tax increment financing. I'm not going to get into the weeds of that right now. I think Mayor Walsh is going to cover that a little more after I'm done gabbing here. I'm almost done. Bottom line.
Putting back on the 3 minutes.
Where's that 3 minutes?
Hey,
Item on the agenda. This probably should have been an item on the agenda, but go ahead, Brendan.
Well, it's just a quick, we can come in more formally in the future with better information. But bottom line is if we don't grow our tax base, we'll be put into the difficult, because that's not sustainable, we'll be put in that difficult position as the city manager of Trainer just told you. We're going to have to start cutting some jobs and services, and those really hit our quality of life first. You're talking about public safety, parks, code enforcement, and economic development. And why are people choosing to live in our areas, or specifically in Council Bluffs and Pottawatomie County? It's because of all of the amenities and the opportunities, the jobs, et cetera, that are attracted by all of those things. And, if we have to start cutting back, closing pools, or, all the things that were mentioned, then why are people choosing Council Bluffs over Papillion or the Omaha Council Bluffs Metro over Des Moines or some other location. So just going to end with saying if we're not growing, we're dying.
Thank you.
How's that, Brandon?
Well, I just wanted, as Brandon said, TIF or tax increment financing and urban revitalization are the two tools that the state of Iowa give us to either incent development or to make public improvements that help foster development. TIF was the original economic development incentive tool, and it has evolved over time. Originally, it allowed a perpetual TIF, and that made a lot of sense. People talk, for the life of me, I can never remember the name of the little city that, Walnut, that has a perpetual TIF, and people say they TIF their whole damn town. Well, it does not matter whether they TIF their town or not. No money gets withheld unless there is an obligation certified. And why it makes sense for those small towns, it's not easy to put up to create a TIF district. You have to hire legal help. It's expensive. For those small communities that don't have the staffing expertise to do it, they just TIF their whole town, and then they didn't have to keep going back to Ehlers and Cooney and have them draw it up again and again. But the legislature and ISAC misunderstood what was happening, and they said, well, you're just capturing all the tax revenue and the county doesn't get any and the school district doesn't get any. And that's absolutely not true. Unless a community certifies debt with the county assessor, and we do it every year, and you can go look to see who's getting that money, where the location is. If we don't certify that debt every year, no money gets withheld. And so it happens each and every year. Same thing with urban revitalization. They have to come back. The difference between TIF and urban revitalizations, TIF is that taxes must be paid and then get rebated back to the developer. Urban revitalization is a tax abatement up to 10 years. TIF can go 20 years in today's world for an urban renewal district. There's also a TIF for residential. And if it's a greenfield, it only goes 10 years. And Seeger's talked a little bit about that. We're hoping to get that shifted to 20 years, 20-year TIF, 20-year to low to moderate income housing, and then 20% or.
If you're in the city
Yeah,
for 20 years.
20 years, that's.
So it helps qualify you to get that, yeah.
But we just wanted to make it clear that the city has two perpetual TIFs. It's got a West Broadway TIF, a downtown TIF. I don't think, and I want to admit that I was a co-conspirator on the great toll road heist in Illinois, but they, I don't think we've ever used the West Broadway TIF ever. I don't remember ever using it. We have used the downtown TIF, and where we used it was in the parking lot behind the Hunter Black. We did the original parking lot with TIF, got that repaid, and then recently we TIFed for that expanded additional parking lot. But that's a public improvement to help the economic development in that area. The other thing that the legislator said is, it just kills me when they talk about Coralville and how Coralville took advantage of the TIF system. Mary Ann probably knows, I don't remember, but a certain portion of the school district's levy gets reimbursed by the state legislature. It's about 42 million. In two TIF districts, Coralville Mall and Jordan Creek, the sales tax are over $50 million that the state of Iowa gets. And so I'm not so sure why they whine all the time, but that's the case for TIF. One other thing I was gonna say, I won't remember, Tom, I'm only walking back across the street, but they, we notify the county, we notify the school districts.
Oh, yeah.
And all taxing entities when we're gonna do a TIF. That page there actually is in reverse. The first page, no TIF, no development. There's some appreciation of value of the property, and so you get a little bit of return. But with TIF, you give up a little bit of the increased valuation for a defined length of time. So that when that's paid off, and we were really lucky in the state of Iowa last year and this year, we had almost $450 million worth of TIF that rolled off the books. So if you're in those other cities, Des Moines laying people off today, it's gonna get ugly in Iowa. And so we've been lucky. We're real aggressive on housing. We're real aggressive on, economic development. We are in a situation that I don't know any city in Iowa has been in. I think we have potential to do capital investment in Council Bluffs north of $15 billion in the next couple of years. And our housing stock is gonna go up about 2,000 units, hundreds of millions of dollars. So we're partners. Let's work together.
Yeah, yeah. So I think the West Broadway though, I think when we got rid of the power poles down through there, because we had all those wires hanging.
Yeah, back when we weren't on before us.
Right, I
Yeah.
think that's probably what.
Could have used it then.
We need to get rid of all that. You know, the three largest,
But that was over 30 years ago.
oh, yeah, yeah. So the three largest tourism places or people that come to the metro area are from Des Moines, Sioux Falls, and Kansas City. Those are the top three people that come to visit our area. And then the top 10 counties, we didn't make the top 10 counties in the state's deal. I gave Matt the criteria for why we didn't make the top 10 counties, but we really also need to grow population.
Yeah.
I mean, we really.
Well, we think we're gonna see that because as Brandon said, Omaha's annexation law does not allow it to grow outside the county limits. And they are, I was kind of surprised that I've heard everywhere from 2026 to 2050, but they're gonna run out of land. Papillion La Vista's extended their, sewer capacity in anticipation of gathering that growth. And so, one of the reasons we did that land use study and together with the county is so that we too can expand our sewer capacity and get some of that growth. And
One of the things that impressed me, I was at that meeting, they showed the parking downtown from 1964 till now. And it's 50% of downtown.
mostly owned by one guy, Fred Suarez,
And
who
we could
just
do,
died.
we could do a lot in downtown Council Bluffs to go up, and I came in there really being skeptical, but that presentation, I thought a lot about that last night. That was a good.
It's a huge economic development driver. It's a huge economic development. Everywhere we've been, it's, as I tell people, it's like water in the desert.
I had one more question yesterday I would have liked to have asked. They didn't ask for public. And are they gonna add 2, 3, 4 more cars for Council Bluffs? And is it part of that system for the new garage that they're gonna build under the bridge there?
So that would all have to be determined. Like I said, we're studying all of that. Now I did hear them say on a small extension, so they're gonna start with 6 to start. And a small extension to UNMC, they said they would go ahead and add 1 more, so they'd have 7. The garage that is being built will house 6, expandable to 7, but can service 12.
Okay.
So what they would talk about is, yeah, you have a garage that's built to handle 12 service-wise. There would be other locations to store them. So perhaps in Council Bluffs, we'll have a storage garage to house them overnight, park, 4 or 6 of them, whatever is needed at that time. And ideally, we have a connected system so that folks in Council Bluffs can seamlessly go into Omaha, all the way to the Med Center, and anywhere else, and vice versa, so they can come over here. And I think ultimately having a Med Center to Med Center kind of concept where you can go from UNMC all the way through Blackstone, Midtown, downtown, Old Market, Dodge Park, First Avenue, West Broadway, downtown Council Bluffs, 100 block, and Jenny and CHI. That connects tens of thousands of people to their jobs, their healthcare, their residences, entertainment, recreation, all in that one urban core. And that makes it easy for us to make those additional investments and develop up and realize the housing that we need and the property tax value that we desperately seek.
And that's what pays the fee for nobody paying to get on and off of them.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Yep.
I
But,
was
and,
surprised by that.
and we need federal subsidies and we think we're qualified to get them. They would pay, according to the people in Kansas City, from what they've gotten in federal subsidies, 80% of the cost of the bridge, 50% of the cost of the rail. As Steve Jensen said last night, the whole difference between Council Bluffs and Kansas City is 100 million miles or $100 million a mile cost. Because they have to tear out the infrastructure, they put in new infrastructure, they re-pour the roads with the rails embedded in the roads. We've got that South First Avenue rail that it does have a storm sewer in it, but other than that, it has no utilities in it. We don't have to tear up any street. We literally could lay it on the dirt. We won't, we probably asphalt it, but.
It was there once.
Yeah, it was.
Have a minimum impact to businesses. That's a big complaint in Kansas City and anywhere else where you're going in the street is the neighboring businesses are inconvenienced for months at a time.
They're just shutting down some in Omaha today.
Yeah.
For 6 months.
Yeah.
I really appreciate.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah,
Brandon, I got one more question for you. Hypothetically, if that, there's a perpetual tip that started, let's say, in the 80s.
1983.
Never used. If you were to utilize that, do you use today's
1983.
assessed values?
1983.
So
And there's nothing there.
you start with a base value, and that would be the base value is whenever it was set.
Whenever you
When factoring the TIF.
establish the TIF, which was in the perpetual TIF was 1983, it's 1983's values that are the baseline for the TIF.
I think it was 1983 for downtown and I think a later date for Broadway. I'm not, maybe
If we
88.
utilize that TIF, then
When you say later.
we would lose revenue.
You would get what you always got. That's that baseline. I think Mayor Walsh passed out
Wait a
on.
minute. If today's value, let's say the values in 83 were 10 million base value.
Yep.
Now it's 50 million. And there's no TIF on it. So we're collecting tax on this $50 million worth of
Yep.
property. If you TIF something and you go back to the $10 million base value, you collect all the taxes
Nope.
above that 10.
You
know?
Well, in theory, yes, you could, but you only can TIF what the costs are. So you just can't make up an arbitrary number and say, I'm taking all 50,000. In theory, this is me talking, in theory, until the economic development that follows the streetcar, we would have to pay metro area transit some fee to manage the streetcar system. Now, we could either do that with the incremental growth along the line like Omaha is doing, or we could subsidize it with that perpetual TIF with the 1983, 88 values, but you can't do it any more than what the expenditures are. So
But
you're exactly right. It could have grown 5 times since then.
We lose revenue. We lose tax dollars.
You lose revenue to make revenue, and that's the only.
You know, hypothetically, if that cost, if we're collecting $5 million worth of property tax currently, and you go back to the 83 value, which is 5 times less than it was.
That's what I just said.
We collect $1 million instead of 5.
And then the investment then
But you
is
can't
when it
collect
rolls off.
more than what the cost is.
I understand that, Matt, but when, in a perpetual TIF, when you're using values that were determined 30 or 40 years ago for your baseline, and now in today's assessed value, your baseline's clear up here, and you're able to capture and I don't care about the value, but you're able to capture those taxes, that tax difference between here and here to pay the TIF down, regardless of how much money it is. And for that, the revenue that the county was getting, we now no longer get.
An increment. It's not gonna be the whole thing, Tim. It would be whatever the cost to
Every year.
every year. So it's gonna be a marginal amount, but the expert study estimate how many billion it was per million.
Hey, at the full build out, they were estimating conservatively $5.5 billion of new assessed value, which results in approximately $100 million of new property tax revenue annually.
Well, if hypothetically, if that costs the county $1 million a year for 20 years,
It's not gonna be a
we don't have
million.
any money. Okay, how much?
I don't know.
I mean, $250,000?
I don't know.
We still don't have that either. So I think that's my only concern with the perpetual TIF is that you get to go back years and years and come up with a base value instead of today's, which.
So flip it to the second page where the flat line, there you are, there you are.
Well, a TIF should be determined by the assessed value when the construction or the project begins, not something that was done 30 or 40 or 50 years ago.
That's the state legislature.
I know there's nothing we can do about it. I'm just saying, I don't like the way that works. It doesn't benefit. Well, it hurts the county and probably, I don't know if the school.
It hurts us
protected
too.
or not.
School districts don't have to.
I don't know if they're.
We don't put any money in our pocket. I mean, it would take money out of our
It
pocket.
sure would.
Yeah.
Well, I do have a question.
So
We need to wrap this up, so.
Yes, well, the question I have, okay, Brandon, you know my position on the railways over here. I think it's gonna be a great idea. It needs to happen. But UP, what about the tracks? How are you gonna get from, Med Center to Med Center? And not, and deal with the UP's track situation here in Council Bluffs? Are you looking at that?
I think the single largest obstacle is crossing the Missouri River. I think when we encounter the UP tracks in Council Bluffs, I think more than likely, rather than building another overpass for the streetcar, we would more than likely route up 1 block north and go over the viaduct.
Okay, all right. So it's a doable thing. It's just.
I think
it's
so.
Not necessarily, all right.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's some decades ahead thing.
Yeah.
I mean, this will be phased, it's over.
Not gonna be here.
I won't be in this seat, I can tell you that.
So thank you very much.
the key to TIP is faster it builds, the faster it pays off. We done it in Crescent and it worked well for our little town.
We'll do our tour here probably next week.
You guys, thanks for coming over. I really enjoyed,
Thanks for all you
I
guys do.
enjoyed that presentation yesterday.
Yep.
Do the work thing, so.
Okay.
Our legislators are behind us.
Where?
Hopefully they'll be reasonable, it's a long story that started in 1978 with Farm Bureau.
Oh, yeah.
As Dan Dawson said, nobody understands it's been bastardized because they've changed it so many times. Just when I think I know it, there's some wrinkle that jumps out that, but it would be difficult, if not impossible, for the legislature to address it today. Because it's so far out of whack, you'll have to shift the tax burden to somebody. And frankly, it's to the residential property owner, and I don't think they'll do it. As a commercial banker, I used to write up credits for loan committee. If you build the same building in Council Bluffs and the same building in Omaha, you paid 217% higher property taxes in Council Bluffs versus Omaha. With a 10% rollback, it went to 195% higher taxes. That has stymied commercial development in Council Bluffs. We're about 37% today. Should be 50-50 commercial, residential. And that will take years to normalize that. It's a big problem that's, I think maybe beyond repair.
Beyond repair is right, because to shift that burden on our residential, they can't take anymore.
Well, and so in the, here's the real simple math on it, Tim, is that if it were 50% commercial, 50% residential, and if you, in simple algebra, if commercial's double, residential should be half. Simple algebra. It doesn't work because we don't have 50%, so we've got 37% commercial, we got 63% residential. And so the residential property owner's taking on the additional burden of what we miss in commercial. And so like I say, it's just been so long and so screwed up, and these little patches make it worse and more difficult to understand. And they say they're gonna fix it, but I don't think anybody's got the courage to do that.
We called that TJ math.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, I'll make a motion to go into closed session pursuant to Iowa Code 20.17.
Thanks for coming over, you guys.
Thanks.
Sorry to take your
Discussion
time.
decision
Well,
on labor
put you at the front
negotiations.
agenda next time.